Okay, I want to say something about this. So I've been part of the solidarity movement for some time, and this is sort of the circles that I'm in. My children are in school. We live in Centurion, which is part of this area of which you are the mayor. And something that to me is sort of a good litmus test in terms of the sentiment in the country is to listen to parents of other children, standing next to a rugby game or a hockey game or something, because those people, we meet them through the school or something. They aren't necessarily as politically activated as I am or interested. They don't necessarily have the same approach or the same views. And so what was very interesting to me listening to teachers, and not so much teachers, parents at these school gatherings talking about this strike, was my observation at least was that you had a lot of support, that there was a lot of frustration among the people. There was waste everywhere, and that it wasn't removed, and there were a lot of frustration in terms of services that weren't delivered. But I think that people have reached a point where they have become so annoyed with these, I almost want to say mobs, political mobs, getting what they want every time when they start burning things. And to see someone saying, well, we're not gonna give in, even though in the short term it was bad for the people. My impression was the people supported it. Was that your observation? I assume you had a lot of pushback, but what was your view of how this was accepted by the people in the city?
Yeah, so what you mentioned about the conversations at the school and the parents and so on, in strategic communication, I suppose you can call it the dinner table test.
Yes.
Do you have the ability to get folks at the dinner table? Most people don't discuss politics at the dinner. Can you get them to talk about the issue in your terms? And yes, I agree. South Africans are very, very tired of extortion, any form of extortion, whether it be construction mafia people who force protection fees and demand a certain percentage of contracts and so on. We've got a big extortion problem in South Africa where violence is used as a negotiating tactic. It's basically a form of criminality. But the challenge for us was, how do you communicate it and in our terms, so that people understand that even as the rubbish is piling up, it's because of a decision made by the city in favor of the ratepayers, because the ratepayers will have to pay for a salary increase. And if the ratepayers could withstand a few months or weeks of disruption, then the long-term effect of that would be tolerable. That's the word, tolerable. And so political communication was very important. One of the first conversations I had was with your colleague Kali Kriel, and I said to him,
at AfriForum,
there is a strike coming. I know you've got a lot of members in the rate-paying areas of Pretoria and Centurion. I need to get a message across to those people before this thing happens. And I had conversations with newspaper editors. And so our ability to anticipate what was coming also enabled us to frame the narrative and to prepare folks so that they could tolerate. And without that, and that's why I say, if you don't communicate, you can't govern. Communication is more than 50% of governing. And I think that's how we eventually got through that, without the city being forced back to a negotiating table.